All right, folks, welcome to, we're going to do some live coverage here of CPAC 2025. I had explained to the audience that I applied for media credentials, and I want to thank the Schlaps for actually granting my request. I got them, and but I'm not able to make it live. So they are providing us with a fantastic HD live stream from the stage. So we're just going to turn it on, and you guys enjoy and share it as you will. They're also broadcasting it. I will jump in from time to time. A big announcement, though. It was just revealed yesterday. It was just announced that President Trump is actually going to give the keynote tomorrow night. So obviously, we will be live here on the CRUSADE Radio Network to carry President Trump's speech tomorrow night at CPAC, and pretty much all day tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow morning we start our day 8 a.m. with Aaron Barker and Erica and the Break Radio. So after that, probably around noon or so, we'll go live to the CPAC stage and be with the conference all day through President Trump's speech here. So I'm going to send you to the stage right now. They've got a bunch of speakers. They hit the stage usually 5-10 minutes at the most. Live coverage here on, like I said, when news breaks out, we break in here on the CRUSADE Radio Network. It's Mike Church saying, I hope you're having a great, blessed Friday. And now we go live to CPAC here on the CRUSADE Radio Network. If you like what we're doing, send us a donation. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. And you can also subscribe to the channel and give this broadcast the thumbs up. Live now from the CPAC 2025 conference here on the CRUSADE Radio Network.
Guys, have a seat. So,
that was something.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much. I'm living the meme. It's like there's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening, you know?
You're like, I think you're bigger.
I mean, Doge started out as a meme. Think about it. And now it's real. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
But it's cool.
Let me ask you this. A year ago, if someone had told you you'd be at CPAC and working with the president to absolutely shred the government, the swamp, whatever you want to call it, would you have ever believed that?
No.
No. Me neither.
But it's cool. This is awesome. And I just want to say, thanks for your support. I mean, you guys are, So, I mean, we're trying to get good things done, but also, have a good time doing it, and, and have, a sense of humor, So, I mean, the left wanted to make comedy illegal, Yeah. You can't make fun of anything. So then it's comedy sucks. It's nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's legalize comedy. Yeah. Legalize comedy.
And we've shifted the entire culture in just the last few months. The whole culture of this country has shifted dramatically just because of that election.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech, having fun again. It seems like we should have a good time,
I mean, it's a great time. Everybody in this place is so excited, and when you talk to conservatives, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And everybody feels this great sense of relief because we were going to hell for about 4 years. It really felt bad, especially toward the end. It felt really bad.
Yeah, I thought we were sort of heading for a point of no return, really.
Yeah.
Until that's why it was so essential that President Trump win the election, and that there be a Republican majority in the House and Senate, which, thanks to you, that has been accomplished.
Yeah. I want to ask you, one of the biggest questions I have for you is, you've been, politically, you weren't really on one side or the other for a long time. You're a businessman. A lot of people, they stay away from it. Now you're on a side, and you've chosen a side. You're sitting here in a MAGA hat. What's it, how did that happen? What was the moment?
It's dark Gothic MAGA.
That's a good one. Was there a specific moment? Was there a moment that it all changed?
Yeah, when I realized I was a fool. But no, I was, I guess, yeah, I mean, I'd say I was probably politically neutral for quite a while. Leaning a little Democrat.
How do you go from that to this?
Yeah, no.
How does that happen?
Well,
did they go crazy?
Yeah, they did go crazy.
Yeah, they went crazy.
No, I mean, that whole cancel culture and it's trying to stop freedom of speech and infringe upon people's personal freedoms. They just want state control of what you say. They want to, take away your guns. And the reason I want to take away your guns is there's nothing you do to oppose them. So it's sort of I just we just need to restore the fundamental elements of what made America great, which is freedom and opportunity.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of these freedoms disappearing in the West. It's not just about America. We're all watching Europe and knowing that they're about 50, 100 years ahead of us, right? Because they got an early start. And we're watching how they're devolving. And you're trying to save it from happening here.
No, I mean, in Europe, they put people in prison for memes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's insane.
And they're collapsing. I mean, this society it's a collapsing society. It feels that way.
It feels like...
France was nicer 50 years ago than it is today.
Yeah.
I don't think you can question that.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, really... Thanks. I love you too.
They do love
I really just wanted to do useful things, basically build products, provide products and services that are good, and that I wasn't really that interested in being political. It just there was at a certain point no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you on the same side of that coin, what's it like from going neutral to being vilified, largely vilified by the media? You're
what? No. Really?
I mean, you turn on some of these channels, brother. I mean, they're angry at you. Does it bother you at all? Does it get to you? Yeah.
I mean, when they're chanting for my death, I suppose that's a little.
Yeah. Not good.
But then, the song's not even that good, and it's Like, you call that a death chant? That's nothing. Please.
They've been singing a lot lately.
It's not even good music.
Yeah. There's a lot of music lately. It's not good music either, yeah.
Yes.
I would say that watching what you're doing with Doge is just, people love it. I mean, I've always looked at the government and, I've always looked at the government and I've seen this big machine and you just know that they waste because they don't care. Nobody can, there's more money coming, they don't care.
Yeah.
You're cutting all this out. Everybody in this country knows that the government is full of waste, fraud, and abuse. And you're doing the work, and the Americans love it. Watching their reaction politically to this, I can't believe how bad they are at responding to this. I don't know how you're gonna sit there and scream and complain because they're cutting waste out of the government and try to win another election. How do you try to win on that?
Well, at this point, I'm not sure how much of the left is even real.
Yeah.
You know?
How much was propped up by our money, you know?
Yeah, like literally, you see like these sort of fake rallies where there's like hardly any people, and the media will like frame it and like, get all 6 people, in the frame, but there's like nobody else is there. Like just, it doesn't have popular support. But then you learn that like there's hundreds of billions of dollars going to these so-called NGOs. And it's your tax dollars that are funding things that are fundamentally anti-American.
And they're propping up their narrative.
Yes.
A lot of that government money has been propping up a left that I don't think is as strong as they made it seem.
In fact, a massive amount of your tax dollars is going to legacy media companies.
Yes.
Directly from the government.
The government wants to take over media.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. That's why we have X.
Yeah, and that's
why you spent $44 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money.
I mean,
more than it was probably worth. But there was a message.
Freedom is priceless.
Priceless. Yeah. Probably one of the most important investments this country's ever seen. If you got to protect the First Amendment, it's not much more important than that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, well, that proves he's a huge idiot from look, he voted for whatever, $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents. And
it's not worth 8 cents.
It was essentially to buy freedom of expression.
Once that's gone, it's all over. It's all over.
Yeah.
And the tyranny is really quick after that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's all the sort of federal money going to media companies is what helps explain why the legacy media all says the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it like, it's like weird, like you can put them up where it's like, like when
they're mouthpieces for
the state.
For the state.
Yes.
And that's what we've come to know.
Yeah.
It's scary.
And I like that meme where they're, because they're always saying like threat to our democracy, but if you just replace democracy with bureaucracy, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Big threats to the bureaucracy.
That's exactly right. Let's talk about these Doge dividend checks that everybody's talking about this week. And I know you tweeted out that you're gonna. Does everybody want like a $5,000 check in the mail? It sounds kind of good, right? And the best part about it would be knowing where it came from. That's $5 grand that you sent them last year.
Totally. It's money that's taken away from things that are destructive to the country, and from organizations that hate you to you. That's awesome.
Does it seem, I mean, have you talked to
that's like glorious. That's like
it's the best.
The spoils of battle,
Spoils of battle. I like that. Is there traction on that?
Yeah. So, I talked to the president, and he's supportive of that, and so it sounds like, that's something we're going to do.
Yep.
So as we're finding savings, that's going to translate directly to reductions in tax. So.
Yeah. I think they fired 6,000 people at the IRS today. And I think Lutnick said last night that they're talking about shutting down the IRS. I think it's fair. I think people should realize this is, the amount of money that we send Washington, like $5 or $6 trillion a year, that is such an ungodly amount of money. What do they say? They say like 1 trillion seconds is like 30 years or something like that. That's how much we send them, and they seem to never have enough. There must be a lot you can cut.
No, absolutely. People ask me, what's the most surprising thing that you've encountered when you go to D.C., you know, we're in D.C., and I said, well, the most surprising thing is the scale of the expenditures, and actually how easy it is to, when you add caring and competence where it was absent before, you can actually save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, it's wild.
And then they scoff at it and say, oh, a few billion here, there. I mean, the way they're talking about it, you can see they don't care. It's such little money compared to how much they're used to wasting. That's what's really scary.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. But obviously, it just shows that they really lack empathy for the average taxpayer who's working hard, paying taxes, and then they say, oh, $1 million doesn't matter. I'm like, I think it matters a lot to people, you know? So what are you talking about?
I'd like to have it. Let me ask you a question. I know the president fairly well, watched him survive 2 assassination attempts. Had the first one not happened, the second one would have gotten him. You know, it was very, because without those extra guys, they would have never seen that gun poking through the fence at the golf course. I saw the crew that you had.
Isn't it like mind-blowing that this has happened? I mean, it just, and what, by the way, why do we still know nothing about that guy in Butler? What's going on? But Cash is going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way,
Confirmed just a couple hours ago, but I saw that the security detail that you had come in is enormous.
Well, it's not that enormous. Maybe it should be bigger. I don't know.
I think you could probably afford it. But I mean, how concerned are you about your safety? Dealing, I mean, you are a wanted man. Are you nervous?
So, look, I'm open to ideas for improving security, I have to tell you. I don't actually have a death wish, I think. But you know, it's not that easy. I mean, but I have I've had even people like President Bukele from El Salvador who managed to put in prison I don't know, 100,000 murderous thugs. And he was he called me, he's like, I'm worried about your security. I'm like, you're worried about my security? I'm like, what? Okay. That's you know.
I mean, talk about guts to do that down there. I mean,
yeah, totally.
And then survive.
I was like, how did you put all those thugs in prison without dying? Because it seems like that would have been not easy, you know.
Well, the president has, one of his top attorneys is now investigating, I guess, Chuck Schumer for threats against SCOTUS, a congressman on the Democrat side. We're saying, basically saying we're going to bring a war to you, like a fight to you. I mean, the rhetoric, you guys are screwing with things that are not supposed to be messed with. And
we're fighting the Matrix.
There's a lot
of
people that really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, we're fighting the Matrix big time here. But it has got to be done.
Yeah. It certainly does. What's going on with, tell us about Fort Knox. There's Kentucky, it's a military base, it's a ton of gold, tons and tons and tons of gold.
5,000 tons of gold or
5,000 tons of gold are there in the ground and this, I mean, it's a very secure thing.
I think we all want to see it.
I'd love to see it.
This is your gold, by the way. It's the public's gold.
Do you think it's not there?
I don't know. But I think
we just want to see it.
Yeah, we want to go see it and just make sure somebody did spray paint some lead or something, you know?
Yeah.
Is this real gold? Fight at the bar, you know?
Didn't dent.
But I think, honestly, part of this also is just let's have some fun and like I said, all this gold at Fort Knox, it's the public's gold. It's your gold. So, I think you have, a right to see it.
You want to take a tour?
You know? Yeah. I think we should have do a tour. And then the president last night was like, I think he's in favor of it. That would be cool. And then it should be a live tour. You can see what's going on, open the door, what's behind it.
Well, and there's...
I think I'd watch that.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, what does 5,000 tons of gold look like?
What does
How big is that? Is it the size of this?
It's got to be pretty big, you know?
It's got to be a lot of gold.
Maybe there's some other stuff in there, just walk around, I don't know, maybe they got some other stuff in there.
Are you thinking about auditing the Federal Reserve as well, which is obviously...
Yeah, sure.
Regulates our economy. I imagine you think the waste has got to be everywhere.
Yeah, no, waste is pretty much everywhere. People ask, like, how can you find waste in D.C.? I'm like, look, it's like being in a room, and there's target, the wall, the roofs, and the floor are all targets. So it's like, you're gonna close your eyes and go shoot in any direction. Because you can't miss, you know? So it's pretty wild. Like you just push on things a little bit and you save billions of dollars. Like just a little bit, you know? It's wild.
It's scary, isn't it? It's really
That's why I say, it really is underrated. If you add caring and competence, how much things improve.
Yeah.
And you know, and we just find so many totally crazy things, which, you know, we're sharing with the public. We post everything we learn. You know, just you know, so you can see it. You know.
What do you? I mean,
and like, it's like, isn't it like it's totally wild? Like we just did like check the database on Social Security. Like it says how many alive Americans eligible for Social Security are there? And according to the database, it's over 400 million. And we're like, wait a second.
And how many are getting?
How many are they again?
Yeah.
And then like we found like one person in there is like 360 years old. I'm like, what, did they know Ben Franklin or
years before the
something?
revolution.
I mean, you know, America didn't exist before that time. Like so.
Yeah, we were colonies.
You know, maybe it's just me, but I think it's a red flag. I don't know.
But are there indications that that there were checks going to those people or any of those people?
Well, yeah.
That's, I guess, the question, right? I mean, I get the Social Security Administration is dumb, but are they paying these people? Are they that dumb? I don't know.
A bunch of money is going out from the Social Security Administration, and in fact, from all entitlements programs.
$72 billion in waste in like 7 years. That's $10 billion a year.
Well, I think the
fraudulent payments.
The rough estimate from General Government Accountability Office is over $500 billion of fraud a year. $500 billion.
And how long at a time?
Per year.
Per year? On Social Security?
No, on all...
on all government.
On all entitlements.
All entitlements.
All entitlements, yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of actually makes sense when you look at the thing from a top level and say, like, okay, there's $7 trillion of spending by the government. What percentage do you think is fraudulent? Okay, exactly. Like a conservative estimate of the $7 trillion would be 10%. Conservative.
Probably a little higher than that, yeah.
Exactly.
Feels like a quarter out of every dollar, right?
But if the fraud's only 10% of $7 trillion, you've got $700 billion of fraud.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's like really easy to take advantage of the federal government. It's very easy. So.
Very easy. Look at COVID.
Yes.
Everybody got rich during COVID. I mean, look at all these scammers. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It looks like, in terms of the COVID payments, there was something like $200 billion of COVID payment fraud taken by fraudsters out of the country.
Out of the country, yeah.
That's like I think, listen, if there's going to be fraud, it should at least be domestic.
Yeah.
So, you know. But they managed to get $200 billion out of the country. I'm like, what? Didn't we notice that?
Let me ask you, let's do immigration here for a second. You know, there's this move now that Trump's latest thing is that he's going to cut funding, any kind of money that ends up in the hands of illegal immigrants. So if you're funding these sanctuary cities and states, that's how they thrive, right? They're paying for these hotels. That's all federal money. If you got a hotel in your city, in New York, you got all these hotels full of migrants, that's not state money. That's the feds are covering that. He's going to cut all that. It's really hard to deport 15 million people. And it seems like the move now is, let's see if we, especially at the rate that we're going, it seems like the move now is, let's make it so that they leave on their own. If there's no longer a dole system for them, if they can't get their hands on hotel rooms and money, they're going to go back, especially if there's no work.
Well, I think it's really important for people to understand that the Biden administration sent any possible money that they could if there was money they could send to facilitate and amplify illegal immigration, they sent it. Okay, they took money from FEMA, meant for helping Americans in distress, and sent that money to luxury hotels for illegal immigrants in New York. That is an outrage. Yeah. They actually did that. And not only that, even after the president signed an executive order saying it has to stop, the FEMA, the sort of whatever deep state bureaucrats still pressed send on $80 million last week to go to the Roosevelt Hotel in New York and other places last week. And now they're mad that it got stopped, and they're like trying to sue to have it be restored. It's like the gumption is
You think they're creating a new voter class? Would you think that was the goal when they opened up the borders for 4 years? Create a new voter class, get them citizenship, get them in, green cards, vote.
A lot of these things, like, you don't actually have to assume some grand conspiracy. You just need to look at basic incentives.
Benefits.
So if the incentives, fundamentally, if the probability that an illegal is going to vote Democrat at some point, whether it's cheating, but eventually they can become citizens. But if the probability is like 80, 90%, you just look at California, which is supermajority Dem, and then the incentive is to maximize the number of illegals in the country. That is why the Biden administration was pushing to get in as many illegals as possible and spend every dollar possible to get as many, because every one of them is a customer, every one of them is a voter. Yeah. And so the whole thing was a giant voter importation scam.
Pretty obvious.
Very obvious. Yeah. And then moreover, then they actually created the CVP1 voter app thing, where they were, which is like where they would literally fly people in. It's not like like at the point at which people are being flown in at your expense.
We're sending planes,
like building a wall
up,
doesn't
fly
matter.
them over the border.
Yeah, they're literally flying them in.
No other country in the world would do something like this. Nobody is this stupid.
Yeah, and then we found that there was like a $100 million contract given to some guy in London, actually, oddly enough, for the CVP1 app. So they're flying illegals into the swing states. Yeah. And if you've got like a margin of victory of maybe 20,000 people, and you fly 200,000 illegals into that state, it's not going to be a swing state for long.
Change the numbers eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe in 4 or 8 years, you're talking about perpetual
It's just a matter
power.
of time.
It's a long game.
It's just a matter of time. So it might take like a year for an asylum seeker or something to get a green card, and then 5 years for the citizenship. It's an investment that is guaranteed to pay off. Yeah. Just a question of when.
They all remember who brought them in and who left them here.
Exactly.
Exactly. I want to go back. I want to talk about Biden.
This is a big deal. Like, I think a lot of people don't quite appreciate that this was an actual, real scam at scale to tilt the scales of democracy in America.
It's treasonous.
Treason.
One more Biden question. I remember when they would do the electric car stuff, they would always try to box you out, even though you have the only electric car anybody wants. You said, I think this week, that you think that Biden left these astronauts up in space because he didn't want to give you an opportunity to save them, make NASA look bad, make the private sector look better, make you look good. You believe that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, of course.
I kind of agree. Why would he want to let you help them come down when you're supporting the president?
I mean, the Biden administration was attacking me next level. I mean, the Department of Justice, or Injustice under the Biden administration, was, I mean, they were suing SpaceX. They're suing SpaceX for not hiring asylum seekers. And we're like, but it's actually illegal for us to hire asylum seekers because rocket technology is covered under ITAR rules, which means it's an advanced weapons technology. Yeah. And so we can only hire permanent residents or or citizens. Right. Like, so we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. And we said, like, so how can they sue us for not hiring asylum seekers when it's actually illegal for us to do so? But nonetheless, there was a big Department of Justice or Injustice case about this against SpaceX. So obviously it was an antagonistic situation. And those astronauts were supposed to be up there for 8 days, and now they're up there for 8 months. Does that make any sense? And we obviously could have brought them back sooner, but they didn't want anyone who supported President Trump to look good, basically. Yeah. That's the issue.
A lot of them are saying right now that the reason that you want to get into Social Security, that you want to get into all of these different, into Treasury and things like that, is that you're looking for personal information and you're trying to make more money.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody as rich as you that cared less about money in my life. Every time I hear a story about you, you're sleeping on a couch of some other guy in a city that you could buy the entire thing.
Yeah,
I don't think you care about money, do you?
No, actually, I mean, listen, like, if I steal some Social Security, I can finally buy nice things.
Yeah.
You know?
And on that same question, they're also talking about you guys are going to end Social Security, you're going to end Medicare, you're going to end these things. I don't imagine that conversation has been had with the president, and that's the plan.
No, in fact, the actions that we're taking with the support of the president and the support of the agencies is what will save Medicare, what will save Social Security.
Yeah.
And because if the country goes insolvent, if all the money is just spent on paying interest on debt, there's no money left for anything.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm doing this, is because I was looking at the big picture here, and it's like, man, our debt's getting out of control. The interest payments, the interest on the national debt now exceeds the entire Defense Department budget.
$1 trillion a year in interest, just to carry the money that we owe is $1 trillion a year.
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
And rising rapidly. So like, I mean, a country's no different from a person. Country overspends, country goes bankrupt. Same as a person who overspends goes bankrupt. So it's not like optional to solve these things. It's essential. So
we're going to go bankrupt.
Yes.
We are. Couple minutes left here. Russia. There's a huge push from the
administration. People are like sometimes like
to end this war.
Say like, you know, I'm a bought asset of Putin. Yeah. I'm like, he can't afford me.
I think you're worth more than Russia.
Think about it.
I like that. So you're trying to end a war. Ending a war always means you have to compromise, you have to negotiate with an enemy or an adversary. That's just what it is. And right now, they are lambasting the president for trying a different method to a war that they haven't been able to end for 3.5 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
They're saying Trump's blaming Zelensky for the invasion. How do you process all of the negativity toward him for trying to end this war?
Well, first of all, I think we should have empathy for the people dying at the front lines. That's the most important thing. And people have been dying, you know, it's like, how many more years is this supposed to go on?
Yeah.
And imagine if that was your son, your father, you know, what are they dying for?
Yeah.
What exactly are they dying for? That line the line of engagement has barely moved for 2 years.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people dead in trenches for what? And I'll tell you what for what. It's like for the biggest graft machine that I've ever seen in my life. That's for what. It's unreal. Like the amount of money that is being taken in graft and bribery is disgusting. And so what's actually happening is that those you know, those poor guys are getting sent into a meat grinder for money. That's what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And it needs to stop.
And it seems, I mean, Trump is so pragmatic on this. He's just looking at it and he's saying, it's Ukraine, it's not our country, it's not a NATO ally. I just want to see people not dying. I want to see on both sides. I mean, think about how many so many young men have died in Ukraine that the army is starting to age out. The military is aging out. You got 40 and 50-year-old guys fighting in a war because there's nobody left that's not killed or maimed in their 20s.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. Think about how many people that is. If you're a humanitarian at all, you just got to end the war. Like, no matter what. Just get it over with.
Yes. People, they need to stop dying.
Yeah.
And the grift machine's got to stop, you know? So, and I think people, a lot of people out there don't realize, like, the president has a lot of empathy. He really cares, you know? He's a good man. So...
I got one more for you. I've been fascinated by you for a very long time.
Thanks.
I've never seen anybody that can, you know, do so many things at the same time. I mean, you got the rockets, you got the cars. I've always wanted to ask you, what is it like inside your mind? Like, is it just 1,000 miles an hour? I mean, are you?
Yeah.
Is it just not? I mean, does it ever stop? Do you sleep? How much do you sleep? What's? Paint us a picture of inside of the mind of a genius. Like, how do you do all this? Can you answer that question? It's not an easy question.
I mean, my mind is a storm.
Yeah.
So, It's a storm. But I mean, let me maybe tell you something. Like, you didn't ask the question, but I think it's worth, and nonetheless, maybe just elaborating on something, which is, you know, I grew up in South Africa, but my morality was informed by America. I read comic books, you know, played Dungeons and Dragons, and I watched American TV shows, and it seemed like America cared about being the good guys, you know, about doing the right thing. And that's actually pretty unusual, by the way. Yeah. It's like
in the world, it's very unusual.
Yeah, it's not like actually.
Most countries don't do that.
No, they don't.
No.
And so I was like, yeah, you know, you want to be this good. You want to be on the side of good. You want to care about what's right, yeah. So that's yeah, what I believe in. You know, so.
I gave you a tough one at the end.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Elon Musk.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, folks, I'm going to take you live now to the White House, where President Trump is signing executive orders, and Howard Lutnick is going to be sworn in as Commerce Secretary. That was an interesting interview with Elon, wasn't it? So let's cut over to that video feed there, and I'll send you live to the White House here just a moment. Here we go.
Just moments ago. Let's listen to what he and the president had to say.
Howard's one of the most experienced and talented business leaders of our time. Done an amazing job on Wall Street and far beyond. But more importantly, he's a patriot who loves our country and has shown tremendous courage and strength throughout his career. Howard began at the famed Cantor Fitzgerald in 1983, and by the age of 29, he rose to become the president and CEO and one of the hottest firms on Wall Street. Much like myself, Howard should not be here today. On September 11th, 2001, Howard's company was at its absolute height, doing unbelievable, dominating Wall Street and stocks and bonds and trading from its headquarters on the 101st to the 105th floor. He had the top 3 or 4 floors of the World Trade Center, the North Tower of the World Trade Center. And every day, Howard got up and went to work early. He'd always go in and he'd go to work early, and he'd be there 6 o'clock in the morning. And as you know, the hit was around 8:45 or something like that. So he would have been there on almost any day other than this, because his wife was very angry at him because he wouldn't deliver his child to school. She said, "You never take." Who is the child? Let me see, where's the child? Lou, you saved your father's life. You saved your father's life, huh? Should hold that against. You're going to leave him more than the other kids, right? Well, so he took, what is your first name? Kyle. He took Kyle. Kyle, congratulations. Nice job. But he took Kyle that one day to school. After years, he finally said, okay, I'll do it. And that's the only time. So he was actually riding down the West Side Highway, and he saw the plane hit. And it's an amazing, and the rest is history. And your brother was in there, too, I think, right? Yeah. And it was just it's a big story. And every single Cantor Fitzgerald employee who was at work that day lost their lives, which was almost 100% of the company. And Howard lost more than 650 friends because they were all friends. They had a really well-unified, just highly respected company, a lot of talent in that company. But the employees, loved ones, including his brother and best friend, and most people would have been defeated. They would have probably gone on to not too much. But Howard rebuilt the company step by step, and as he did it, he gave a tremendous amount of the profits and other things to the families of his colleagues who were killed in the World Trade Center on that horrible day. And it showed something about Howard that's really incredible, his resilience. It's very few people could have even thought of doing it, but his resilience and tenacity have earned him the respect and admiration of everyone in the financial world. But more importantly, Howard understands from personal experience why we put America first, because we love our families, we love our fellow citizens, and we love our country so much. And he really loves his country, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think so. And he's got so many friends in New York and Wall Street and elsewhere. And he has just really, he's a relationship person, and they're always the best, and he's the best at it. As Secretary of Commerce, Howard will work tirelessly to protect our workers and our wealth and grow our economy into the strongest in the history of the world. You know, when he rebuilt the company, it actually became much bigger and much stronger than the original company, which is almost impossible to do. It became hotter than even the original Cantor Fitzgerald. But he's going to be unmatched as an emissary working to get jobs and investments. And his favorite word, and I'm going to move him down to fourth favorite word. First is family, love, God. Not necessarily in that order, by the way. I think let's put God first. All right? We'll put God first. You know why? Because we don't want to take any chances. That's why. But I did that once. I said I put tariff as my favorite word. Well, and the fake news went out, and they really got me, I'll tell you. They said, what about God, family, relationship, a couple of words, and I said, you're right. And so I made it now my fourth favorite word, and Howard, I think, you'll go along with me, number 4, maybe even number 5 or 6. But he really understands something about business, and we have been called by so many companies. Yesterday we had Tim Cook of Apple in, who's going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in the country because of what we're doing. And we have many, many companies, too many to even mention. They're coming roaring back into this country. And it'll take maybe a little time, but not that much time. You're going to see things that you've never seen before at a level that you've never seen before. And Howard's going to lead that charge, and he'll help oversee the tariff and trade agenda along with many other things. We'll soon impose reciprocal tariffs, because that means they charge us, we charge them. It's very simple. Whatever a company or a country such as, let's say, India or China or any of them, whatever they charge, we want to be fair. So reciprocal. Reciprocal meaning they charge us, we charge them. We haven't done that. We've never done that. We were getting ready to do it until COVID hit. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world, and we were just getting started. But the tariffing is going to be very interesting. Howard's going to be in charge of it, and I think you're going to see jobs and money flowing into the country like never has been seen before as we reduce inflation, unleash energy, bring down costs, bring back manufacturing, and lead the world in innovation. Families will flourish, and opportunities will skyrocket. We will skyrocket like people haven't seen. It's going to be a really big thing, and I wouldn't feel the same confidence if I didn't have this man on my left. And even though he spent a little bit of his time in life as a Democrat from New York, I'm okay with it because I knew him during his Democrat days, and that's okay. But I just want to say that he is going to help very strongly make America wealthy again, make America great again, and there's nobody that can do the job better. So, Mr. Secretary of Commerce, I just welcome you aboard. There's nothing you can do so big as this. There is no deal you can do that's bigger. Every deal. That's why you can never go back into business, because it seems like small potatoes, no matter how big it is, including even Cantor Fitzgerald. It's all small potatoes compared to what we're doing now. So it's a great honor to have you and your family aboard. Thank you very much, and thank you very much in particular. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So first, I'd like to thank you, President Trump. It is the greatest honor to work for you, to be with you, to carry your name, your leadership, and your flag throughout the world. The press has no idea who the gentleman to my left is. They portray him in all sorts of ways, but I know him as the smartest, most thoughtful, and most intuitive person I've ever met. And it's amazing to be in this room and to work for him. I have to my right my friend J.D. Vance, who was kind enough even to introduce me to the Senate, and he gave me the greatest compliment. He called me a good dude. So I have really the most wonderful family. I have my wife, Allison. We've been married for 30 years. And I always, when I come home, because I come home late at night, I walk in the door and I yell, "Hello, greatest wife." She's just an amazing girl. My 4 children, Kyle, who you know has saved my life, so now this is going to cost me dearly. My son, Brandon, my daughter, Casey, my son, Ryan, and my sister, Edie, my 2 brothers-in-law, Gary and Rick, my sister-in-law, Abby. I mean, this is as beautiful a day as you could have. The opportunity that the Trump administration is going to bring to America is so extraordinary. You know, people think the golden age is a statement. It's like saying MAGA, make America great again. This is the greatest country on earth. It is such a great country that we can take care of our citizens and give them their Social Security. We can take care of everyone and give them their Medicaid. But we're going to get rid of so much waste, fraud, and abuse. We're not going to hurt anybody, but we're going to get rid of it. And then we are going to grow this economy in a way that people have never seen. And under the Trump administration, my goal, and I'm happy to wear it on my shoulders, is we are going to balance the budget of the United States of America because Donald Trump understands global business. It's the first time you put in that chair the greatest businessman in the United States of America. And I just, for one, I have to tell you, I cannot be more proud to serve my great friend and the greatest president in America, Donald J. Trump.
So now we get to swear Howard in. Now we need the actual.
We need to sign the commission first.
Sign the commission first, okay, Mr. President. We're going to sign the commission first. I can't swear him in, I guess, until you sign the commission. Yes, sir.
Okay. You ready? You sure? It's the last time? You can change your mind until...
I get to work for you right here. It's better than this. This room never looks so beautiful.
It does. And then, how do you like the new look? Now, the desk is a different desk. It's one of 7. But the Resolute desk is being renovated and refurbished after many, many years of service. It'll be back in 4 weeks, in case anybody missed it, which a lot of people do. Okay, Howard, you're in.
All right, now Howard, come next to your beautiful wife and your beautiful family here. Put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I, Howard Lutnick.
I, Howard Lutnick.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
I will take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, there are reports that you were considering merging the United States Postal Service with the Commerce Department. Can you elaborate on if this is something you're considering?
Well, we want to have a post office that works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. And we're thinking about doing that, and it'll be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the Postal Service, and I think it'll operate a lot better than it has been over the years. It's been just a tremendous loser for this country. Tremendous amounts of money are being lost, and we think we can do something that'll be very good and keep it a very similar way. But whether it's a merger or just using some of the very talented people that we have elsewhere, so it doesn't lose so much. It's losing a tremendous amount of money.
Some members of Congress in red districts are facing pushback from voters in town halls. We know that Americans voted for you on the immigration and the economy, but these voters say they're angry and frustrated by these firings. They don't like the work of Elon Musk and these other actions. What do you say to them?
Who do you work for?
I work for ABC News, sir.
Who?
ABC News.
No wonder. Let me just tell you that I have today the highest poll numbers I've ever had. I have today the highest poll numbers of any Republican president ever. We haven't even checked the Democrats, but that's what I was just told. And they like the job that we're doing. They like the job that Elon's doing. He's doing something that a lot of people wouldn't have the courage to do. We want to streamline our country. We want to streamline, because you know why? Because we want our country to survive and thrive. And we're finding billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. Billions, and I mean numbers like you wouldn't believe, and we haven't even started yet. So it's actually just the opposite. We've polled it, and people are thrilled. They can't even believe it's happening. And it won't affect many people. It'll only affect the people that get caught stealing. The waste, fraud, and abuse is at a level like nobody's ever seen. It's been going on for years. And all you have to do is look at the Social Security rolls, look at some of the things, look at where the money is going. The Attorney General's looking into something, environmental protection, $20 billion. And it's out and out fraud. So I think the people are very happy. Yes, please.
Mr. President, I want to ask you about this week, the Secretary spent 4 hours with the European Union trade representative. The European Union has signaled that they would lower tariffs and do a trade deal with the United States.
Yeah, the European Union wants to come back. They've treated us very badly, and the European Union wants to lower their tariffs because of the fact we were paying a fortune of tariffs. We couldn't sell a car there. We couldn't sell our farm products there. They wouldn't take anything. Now, all of a sudden, they're being very nice, and that's going to happen with a lot of others, too. The European Union is wanting to lower its barriers at very low levels. They want to now bring their car number, which was extremely high, down to 2.5%, which is the same thing that we charge. That's reciprocal. See, that's what is happening, reciprocal. And I think it's a big start in the right direction with the European Union.
You called President Zelensky of Ukraine a dictator. Do you think that President Putin of Russia is also a dictator?
I think that President Putin and President Zelensky are going to have to get together, because you know what? We want to stop killing millions of people. You have young soldiers being killed. If you saw the pictures that I saw of the battlefield from satellite, you've never seen any pictures like that. Soldiers are being killed by the thousands a week, thousands of soldiers a week. As we speak, they're being killed. That's why I want to see a ceasefire, and I want to get the deal done. I think we have a chance to get the deal done. I had to make sure that Russia wanted to do it. It's a war that would have never happened if I was president, but it did happen. So I got stuck with it, and I want to stop people from being killed. You know, it doesn't affect the United States very much. It's on the other side of the ocean. It does affect Europe, and we've put in 3 times more money. We're in for $300 billion. They're in for $100 billion. And, you know, Europe is also doing it in the form of a loan. Biden just gave them money. There was no loan. There was no security. There was no anything. So we're going to either sign a deal, or there's going to be a lot of problems with them. So we're going to sign a deal to get security, because we have to do that. We're spending our treasure. They're spending their blood. They are. And they're very brave, and, you know, in every way you can imagine. But we are spending our treasure on a country that's very, very far away. And it's okay, but we have to be treated the same as Europe is being treated. Europe gets their money back. Europe is basically giving nothing, because they get it back in the form of a loan, and it's a guaranteed loan. We don't get our money back, and we're losing. I mean, we don't want to do that anymore. So we're signing an agreement, hopefully in the next fairly short period of time, that will assure us that we'll get $400 or $500 billion back. We're in there for $300 billion. Now, one other thing. Europe is at 100. We're at 300. We think it has to equalize. In other words, they have to come up with more money, because it has a big effect in Europe. It doesn't have much of an effect on us, because we have a big, beautiful ocean in between. but it does affect, and Biden should have never gotten us into this mess. We had an incompetent president who got us into a mess, but we're going to get you out of it. The same thing in the Middle East. We're going to have some good news in the Middle East. What happened yesterday, the sight of those babies was not acceptable to anybody. Nobody's seen anything like it.
Mr. President, are you going to Moscow? There's a report out of France that you're going to Moscow on May 9th.
No, I'm
to
not.
join President Putin.
I'm not.
And then if I could, sir, just ask you about Kash Patel, who's going to be sworn in soon as your FBI director. Talk to us about your reaction to him getting sworn in and the fact that many agents across the country are concerned that they will be fired en masse for simply just doing their jobs.
No, I think the agents are very happy about Kash. In fact, the agents led the charge for Kash. One of the reasons I loved Kash and wanted to put him in is because of the respect the agents had for him. I think he'll go down as the best ever at that position. And it turned out he was very easy to get approved. You know, I was not sure. He's a tough guy, strong guy. He has his opinions, and I wasn't sure. He turned out to be he went very smoothly. I don't know if he's in the room now. He's going to be in the room very shortly. Where is he? Oh, good. I'm saying the right thing. I can't speak too badly about him. I better be careful. I will say this about Kash, and Howard understands this. One of the reasons that I wanted him is because the agents love this guy and they respect this guy, and this is what they wanted. And even somebody like Trey Gowdy, who's a very good guy, but known as somewhat of a moderate person, he came out with a statement that was so incredible. He said, Kash is an incredible person. People don't realize it. When he said that, there was no doubt left. It was really a big statement made by somebody that's respected and on the moderate side. And I will tell you, I think Kash is going to go down as maybe the best ever when it's all said and done. So I'm glad he's willing to do it. Thank you, Kash.
Cook, a little bit more. You talked about. Could you speak a little bit more about your meeting with Tim Cook? You said that he was going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars. There's specific projects that he spoke to you about. What were those?
All over the country. He's going to start building, and he doesn't want to pay tariffs. And he's going to start building, but very big numbers. You have to speak to him. I assume they're going to announce it at some point, but very big numbers. He was here yesterday. I met with him at length, and Apple is coming here with tremendous dollars. They're going to be spending a lot of money in the United States, more than they've ever spent by a factor of probably 10.
Did you reporting that you were signing a memo later to counter digital service taxes?
Well, will you speak? I mean, what are you doing, reading it?
Yeah,
Can't you just say it without having to read it?
My question?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Bloomberg, we're reporting that you're expected to sign tariffs or a memo later on tariffs on digital taxes. Is there any idea how high you might go with
We are going to be doing that. Digital, what they're doing to us in other countries is terrible with digital, so we'll be announcing that. Are we signing it maybe today?
Today.
And we'll talk about that in a little while. You'll be here.
Are you going to put the secretary in charge of the Postal Service?
He's going to look at it. He's got a great business instinct, which is what we need. And he'll be looking at it, and we think we can turn it around. But it is the Postal Service. I mean, we're leaving the Postal Service, but we're losing so much money with the Postal Service, and we don't want to lose that kind of money. So the Secretary and some others that have talent, that kind of talent, we'll be looking at.
So how close are you to a minerals agreement with Ukraine, Mr. President?
What?
How close are you to striking a minerals deal?
I think we're pretty close, yeah. I think they want it, and they feel good about it, and it's a big deal. But they want it, and it keeps us in that country, and they're very happy about it. But we get our money back. This should have been signed long before we went in. This should have been signed by Biden, but Biden didn't know too much about what he was doing. The war should have never happened, number one. When it did happen, it could have been settled the first week or 2 weeks. After that, it got bad. It got really bad. But it should have never happened, and it should have been settled, and it could have been settled very easily at the beginning. Now it's tougher, but we'll get it settled.
Germany has elections on Sunday. What are your thoughts? What do you expect to happen in the elections on Sunday?
Who has elections?
Germany.
Oh, Germany. I wish them luck. We got our own problems. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
You just saw President Trump at the swearing-in ceremony for Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and making a lot of news on the Russia-Ukraine war. He said Putin and Zelensky need to work together, and that we're getting closer to signing a minerals deal with Ukraine, and that he is not going to Moscow on May 9th, refuting reports. And as we mentioned earlier, he's thinking about merging the Postal Service with the Commerce Department.
And folks, you just saw the signing-in ceremony of Howard Lutkin as Commerce Secretary. Big news that the Postal Service is going to merge. He said merge. It's going to be run by the Commerce Department. Howard Lutkin's story is an amazing story in and of itself. And that's because he lost so much on 9/11. And then here he is today. And then you saw President Trump again answering more questions live. No teleprompter, no script, picking on any reporter than Biden answered in 4 years, he answered today. So tomorrow, big, huge day here on the CRUSADE Radio Network. Start your day early in the morning with Michael Keurig's Catholic Adventures and Great Music. And then at 8 a.m., Aaron Barker and Erica with the Breakdown Radio Show. That's 8 to 10 a.m. It's live. And then around 11 or so, or immediately following that, we go to the CPAC stage live. And we will have live coverage of CPAC all day tomorrow. Great speakers. My friend Jack Posobiec is going to be speaking. Carrie Lake, just a few of the names I picked up. Benny Johnson. Of course, President Trump is the headliner tomorrow evening. And we'll carry it all here live here on the CRUSADE Radio Network. If you like what we do, chip something into the tip bucket. Go to crusadechannel.com/donate. See you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Friday evening. God bless you and Mary keep you.
Water on